Close your eyes, take a breath. Tonight, we're going somewhere wild. Let's explore the world of the platypus. The river runs through the dark before the sun comes up. It moves over polished stones and around the roots of old trees, and it has been doing this just like this for a very long time. The water is cold and clear, and it carries the smell of wet earth and eucalyptus leaves that have softened and drifted from the bank. In the shallows, the stones are smooth and darkly green. Reeds line the far bank, their tips barely moving. A pale ghost gum hangs its arms over the water, its white bark faint in the pre-dawn dark. This is Eastern Australia. The stars are still there above the trees. The night birds have gone quiet. The air holds that particular stillness that belongs only to the last hour before morning, when the world draws a breath before the light comes. The river is waiting. Something moves along the bank. He is compact and quiet, about as long as a large house cat, his dense brown fur so close and tight that the water will bead right off it when he enters. His flat tail trails behind him as he walks, and he walks on his knuckles, his broad webbed feet folded up so their webs don't drag across the earth. His face ends in a wide, dark, rubbery bill, soft as a worn river stone. It looks unremarkable in the dark. It is not unremarkable. This is Pluto. He moves to the edge of the bank without hesitation, the way an animal moves when it knows a place completely. The bill dips toward the water. For a moment, he is perfectly still. Then he slips in. The cold closes around him at once, and as he goes under, something happens. His eyes press closed, sealed by a small fold of skin along each groove. His ears fold shut. His nostrils seal themselves tight against the water. All of it gone. No sight, no sound, no smell. He is blind in the dark water, deaf. He can sense nothing of the river above him. And then his bill begins to read the river. In the skin of that wide, flat paddle, 40,000 sensors sit in careful rows. They can feel electricity. And every living creature in the river, every shrimp, every worm, every beetle tucked under a stone, makes a faint electrical pulse when it moves. Not a pulse you could see, not a sound you could hear, but the bill feels it the same way your fingertips feel the grain of wood even in the dark. The river was singing. Pluto moved through it in slow arcs, sweeping his bill from side to side. He mapped the riverbed around him in signals and pulses. Here, a flicker, something small and alive behind a flat stone. Here, a faint ripple of pressure arriving just after its own electrical signal, the gap between them telling him the exact distance, the way the seconds between lightning and thunder tell you how far away the storm is gone. A worm, found and taken. A small shrimp pressed in the gravel, found and taken. He stored what he caught in the pouches of his cheeks and swam on, the bill never stopping, never rushing, the cold water parting around him in a smooth bow. The river widened into a long, slow curve where the current slackened and old roots hung down from the bank like a curtain. The bottom here was deep with silt and stones, and the signals from the riverbed came in from every direction, layered and rich. The river was singing. Pluto worked the curve in patient loops, his tail giving one long stroke and then another to hold him in the current. This was the best stretch he knew. He had hunted it every dawn since spring. He knew every root, every stone, every hollow where a crayfish might tuck itself in and wait. He filled his cheek pouches. He surfaced once, breathed, ground his catch against the hard plates inside his jaw, swallowed grit and soft flesh together, then went back under. He was content. But he went further downstream into a narrower channel he had not worked in a while. He was curious, the way a good hunter is always curious about what the next stretch of river holds. The current here was different, shallower, warmer. The signals from the riverbed grew thin, then sparse,
then scattered. He swept the bill left, a faint pulse far out of the edge of his range. Then nothing. He swept the bill right. Nothing. He surfaced. The bank on the far side was cracked and pale. The soil had pulled away from the roots of a fallen tree. In the shallows, stones showed their tops above the waterline. There was almost no life here, almost no shelter, almost no life. He went under again. The bill moved slowly through the quiet. Nothing to the left. Nothing ahead. A single faint flicker at the very edge of what the bill could reach, and then that too was gone. The river was silent. Pluto held still in the current, the bill resting, the water moving past him. His tail made the smallest motion, the most patient motion to hold him in place. Around him, the signals had stopped. He turned. Upstream, back toward the long curve, back toward the curtain of roots in the deep silt floor. And the bill, sweeping, found the first signal almost at once. One crayfish, pressing itself under a stone. A pale ribbon of electrical sensation, arriving exactly where he had been before. Then another signal, a worm near a root. Then a small beetle moving carefully across the bottom gravel, too absorbed in its own business to notice anything at all. The river was singing. Pluto followed it back, upstream through the slow curve, through the cold, deep channel, past the ghost gum and its pale reflection, back along the stretch of bank he knew as well as a child knows a hallway in the dark. He surfaced one last time at a flat stone near the bank, breathing, the cold air catching at his fur. Then he found the entrance to his burrow, a gap in the earth behind a tangle of roots just above the waterline, invisible unless you knew exactly where it was. He entered. The tunnel was cool and narrow and smelled of deep, damp earth. It went in a long curve, 30 meters through the bank, and Pluto moved through it without hesitation. He had made this tunnel himself long ago with the claws of his front feet, and he knew every turn of it. At the far end was the chamber. It was small and around it, lined with leaves and dried grass and a few reeds that he had carried here tucked under his tail, bundle by bundle through the dark. He curled into it now, his dense fur already beginning to dry in the still air, his flat tail folded up over his nose. The sounds of the river came through the earth, muffled and far away, like a song heard through a closed door. The light was coming up outside, turning the sky above the river from gray to the palest gold. A magpie called somewhere in the ghost gum once, and then again. Pluto did not hear it. He was already still. His bill made the smallest twitch, and then another, and then lay quiet. Do you think he is dreaming of the river? Of the bills sweeping slowly through the cold dark, finding the song of every living thing? The platypus is still out there right now in the rivers of eastern Australia, doing exactly what it was born to do. Sleep well, Fenekie. The wild world will be here when you wake up. Good night.